Today is August 9th, 2025. It's Talking Giants brought to you by SeatGeek, and the New York Football Giants have defeated the Buffalo Bills by a score of 34-25 in their preseason opener. We're scoring over 30 points. Brian Daboll is 3-1 now in his fourth week one preseason game. He's 5-5 all time in the preseason as a Giants coach. These are the stats that matter. Maybe, maybe not, but here's what does matter. Jaxson Dart looks pretty damn good. Abdul Carter had 3 opportunities to rush the passer, and from 2 different spots, the interior and facing a 4-time Pro Bowler left tackle, Deion Dawkins, had a total of 3 pressures and 3 pass rush snaps. Mbow at right tackle and left tackle looked pretty damn good too, and I think he could challenge James Hudson as a swing tackle, and hey, maybe even sooner rather than later, he could be like a franchise right tackle. I don't know. You don't want to take too many things away from preseason week one. But of course, Jaxson Dart is the main leader of what we're going to be talking about today because he had the best highlights from the day. And the Giants do win, of course. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in for Talking Giants. Appreciate everybody. It's good to be back. The main thing with Dart, obviously the highlight play was to Little Jordan Humphrey. It was a 3rd and 5, and I think it was a 28-yard touchdown. And really, really nice throw by Dart. Talked after the game how 1v1 opportunity, Little Jordan Humphrey, good connection with him through camp, number one. And number 2, he just is a contested catch guy. Like Little Jordan Humphrey, Zach Pascal, all these guys have like previous NFL pedigrees. And now Little Jordan Humphrey comes in here playing backups in the preseason. Awesome. Let's give that guy a one-on-one opportunity on the 3rd and 5 to make a play. And he does. And it wasn't even just like, oh my God, Little Jordan Humphrey contested catch. It was like a legit good throw that was out in front of him where only I think he could have made a play on that football. Awesome stuff. And just cool to see after that touchdown is scored, everybody's running down. Everybody's celebrating. Everybody's getting hyped. Everybody's getting pumped up. Jaxson Dart's getting pumped up. There was even a 3rd down incompletion that Jaxson Dart had where he kind of got a little fired up. I think it was directed towards Amir Smith-Marset or Dalen Cambry. Having trouble remembering on top of my head, but still getting a little like fired up towards him. And that kind of intensity is just not something that we've had, but that's also who Jaxson Dart is. And that's what you're not to compare to just to past quarterbacks, but that's who Jaxson Dart is. And I think we're getting just a sprinkle of figuring out who Jaxson Dart is. And it was really good to see it in game and in rhythm. And that's what he was. He was in game. He was in rhythm. I think there were 3 words that Daboll used. Efficient, effective were 2 of them. And I definitely feel like that was the case. One of the biggest surprises, I will say, and size of relief from the start with Dart, probably the thing that impresses me the most, because I know that he can move, which he had some plays where he kept the play alive with his feet. There was a nice like big 10-15 yard run that he had in the middle of the game as well. Like, we know the arm. We know that he's willing to be aggressive. We know that he's willing to take chances. But how is he going to navigate pressure? How are you going to navigate pressure? And that was probably one of the main things that stood out from today, where there was no running backwards for Jaxson Dart when it came to him dealing with pressure. The Little Jordan Humphrey touchdown, he had pressure in his face. He delivered that ball in front of Little Jordan Humphrey for the touchdown. But even the plays where he ran and he scrambled, or even plays that he had to kind of just keep alive and maybe just dump down, there was no running backwards. And why I think that's important, and why I'm thinking to myself sitting here being like, well, why did you think of that point when talking about how Jaxson Dart dealt with pressure? Well, because there was a certain quarterback that played last night for the Cleveland Browns who that's like what he did. He ran backwards and he made things harder on himself. And this isn't just to shit on Shador, but I think it's just to compare somebody who is bad, or even quarterbacks that are bad with dealing with pressure. And then at least Dart's first sprinkle was, I'm going to go forward. There was even one play. I think it was a 2nd or a 3rd down play where his first instinct was to protect the ball and tuck it in. He plants his back foot in the ground and goes slightly backwards for a second, but then he moves up forward in the pocket. This was on the scramble. That's where it was. The scramble where he had 15 plus yards. Protect the ball was the first instinct. Plant that back foot to try and juke and get away from the sack. And now we're going to go directly forward. Montrell Washington, who, by the way, I've been saying Darnell Washington the last couple weeks. Darnell Washington, kick-ass tight end for the Steelers. Montrell Washington, 2-minute drill. The first play coming out of that 2-minute break, same thing. Moves up in the pocket, doesn't go backwards, or even you'll see a lot of quarterbacks do, and a lot of the good quarterbacks do this too, because they can move on the run and they can just make all this magic shit happen. They go around. They create like an arc of an angle, right side, left side, and you're not always going to be able to just go straight, and that pocket isn't always going to be perfect where Dart's going to be able to just step up and extend a play from within the pocket. But that's kind of like what, if you want a ceiling, that's kind of like what Joe Burrow is best at, and why I think you include a guy like Joe Burrow in with Lamar, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen. You include a guy like that because he is still able to extend plays from within the pocket, but he doesn't run around like the rest of those big quarterbacks do. I don't know if that's going to be Jaxson Dart's game, but based off week 1 preseason, that's what he did well, extending a play from within the pocket. Montrell Washington, a 2nd and 15 after a false start coming out of that 2-minute drill. Big pickup, and he's able to lead a field goal drive in his first 2-minute situation as Giants quarterback. Cool. Awesome. Love to see it. So Jaxson Dart, good stuff, man. There was even a screenplay where going to turbo, doesn't panic, lofts it over defenders right into Turbo's lap, and there's pressure in your face too. Even when things didn't look right, Jaxson Dart still looked comfortable. He looked cool. He looked calm. He was collective. He was efficient. He was smart with the football. And when he said in camp, the game is slowing down for me a little bit, you kind of laugh because it's like, oh, you're 3 practices in and you're talking about the game slowing down for you. But I think it's true. The Jaxson Dart that we saw today was the Dart that we've seen towards the second half of camp so far, instead of the first couple practices where he really looked uncomfortable, didn't really know where to go with the ball and shit like that. So really cool to see that from Jaxson Dart. Really impressed with Dart. Touchdown, again, was pretty sick. Was pretty damn sick. I kind of wanted to see him go in there for more, but he didn't. He even looked good with some under center snaps. I think the next step for Jaxson Dart is, are we going to throw from under center, and can we get play action under center? I think that's going to be the next step. We had some nice RPOs and play action out of the shotgun, where there were, I think his first completion was just to Zach Pascal on the outside, little button hook, boom, we're going to take that easy completion for 9 yards. And then there was another RPO on a 1st and 10 or a play action where little Jordan Humphreys just running like a slant, and we're going to take those easy yards all day. So that's the next step for Dart. Maybe in the next game, maybe in the 3rd game, I don't know, is I want to see under center, not just handing the ball off, but how are we going to throw the ball under the center, and especially under center play action, getting that footwork right, getting that timing right. That'll be the next step for Dart for sure. So really impressive, really good. Loved it from Jaxson Dart. Bang. Bang. I'm going to talk to you about something first before I keep going, because maybe then I'll think of more stuff about Jaxson Dart as we go. Or maybe I'll read you his stats. But I got to talk about SeatGeek first, because today's episode and game recap is sponsored by SeatGeek. The MLB playoff chases on. Football season is just around the corner. With SeatGeek, the MLB's official ticket marketplace, your tickets are fully guaranteed and instantly fulfilled in your account after purchase, because with over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app in the entire world. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports festivals, and more. Go to a Giants preseason game, because I'll tell you what, if you use code GIANTS2025, you get 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. You could probably sit in some nice seats. And if you spend a little bit, you get 10% off. It's almost like you're going for free. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code GIANTS2025. It's all one word. And even if you're not ready to use that code yet, just put it in your account now. And then the next time that you're ready to go to something, use SeatGeek, use the code, you'll get 10% off. How do you like that? How do you like them apples? Thank you to SeatGeek. Appreciate you. Yeah, so Jaxson Dart's final stat line was 12 for 19, 154 yards, no sacks. Love to see it. 1 touchdown. It was a 29-yard touchdown and a QB rating of 106. So, I think Doug Analytics broke it down. He he put out the target depth. It was a lot of short stuff. I liked when he targeted the intermediate part of the field. I think there were a couple of times there, 1 for 2 of 20-plus yards. I think the other 20-plus yard target was, just trying to give Dalen Cambry a chance on the left sideline. I think I'm walking away from preseason game 1 saying, let's try and get Dalen Cambry involved, maybe not throwing him the ball deep because he just doesn't fully look comfortable as a receiver, more of a special teams ace, that we got at as a UDFA. So those were the 2 20-yard attempts, and then everything else. Like I even like the 2-minute drill where you got to go hurry up. You got to be able to control the offense. I didn't think there was a certain, before the snap, some things you're looking for is he letting the clock roll down really, really deep? And are we rushing plays? Are we getting the play call in time? I think there are certain things that this is what you're looking out for, especially as Jaxson Dart's coming from a little bit of an unconventional school like Ole Miss, like Lane Kiffin, where he didn't even have to call a snap count, right? We all know that. So I think those types of things, can you handle that? I think yes. And then on top of that, are you able to process post-snap? Are you able to not make mistakes? Are you able to keep plays alive? He did all that too. I think there were 2 batted balls as well. So, hey, you're a little bit shorter. Offensive lineman getting some pushes. Okay. 2 batted balls. Montrell Washington, I think, had 2 third-down drops. So Jaxson Dart's stay would have looked even better, and drives maybe would have possibly even continued if Montrell Washington catches the ball, especially coming into the 2-minute warning there. I think as he's walking off the field, like Dable's being like, that's not a bad pass. Not a bad pass. If I was reading his lips correctly there too. So really like Jaxson Dart. It was a lot better than I thought. Like there's part of me in the back of my brain that's like, okay, it's okay if Jaxson Dart doesn't look all that good because I don't want there to be a tremendous amount of pressure to put him in. But then the other side of my brain is being like, well, damn, Jaxson Dart looking good is obviously just a sick thing, right? So he passes the test number 1, and take that, Josina Anderson. He looked a hell of a lot better than Shedeur Sanders. I don't know what game people were watching to walk away with being like, oh my God, Shedeur Sanders, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what game you were watching. The first touchdown that he had, he was gifted the ball at the 10-yard line. And then the second one, okay, good job. Let a touchdown drive. Guy ran 20 yards backwards on a 4th and 2. Get rid of the ball. Okay. All right, Jaxson Dart, fun. Russell Wilson was in for 1 drive, and there was a 2nd and 7 throw to Wan'Dale Robinson from Russell Wilson on the sideline. And if you follow the Yankees at all, if you follow John Boy Media, I had a thought like my guy Joe's McFly, and I watched that 2nd and 7 throw to Wan'Dale where it was just like a little comeback hitch route on the sideline, and I had this thing where I said to myself, does the ball look different coming out of Russell Wilson's hands? And that's like how like my guy Joe's McFly would say this. And I was thinking to myself, DJ doesn't even throw that ball. DJ doesn't even think about throwing that ball. Because I talked about a couple weeks ago, or I don't even know when, but offense just being easier for the Giants this year. Offense needs to be easier. Like a 1st and 10 when Dart was just throwing these little button hooks to Zach Pascal and it goes for 9 yards and it's a 2nd and 1. How sick is a 2nd and 1 versus a 2nd and 7 or a 2nd and 9 when the Giants just can't do anything on 1st down, right? But that throw that Russ had to Wan'Dale on that first drive, and it's so small, it's so insignificant. And I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that Russell Wilson is this transcendent quarterback. We know what he is. What he is at this point. There's eventually going to get a point this year where we're going to get frustrated with the amount of sacks that Russell Wilson's taking, and he's going to hold on to the ball himself, and he's not going to deal with pressure well at times. Whereas Jaxson Dart walks away from this first preseason game, we're saying that he did. So Russ is going to have his flaws at quarterback, but I think we've been beaten the last really. I hate to throw Eli in this too, but since 2016, we've been beaten with bad QB play over and over and over and over again. We've had flashes in 2019 of good stuff and flashes of 2023 with Tyrod Taylor. Crazy that I'm throwing him in that sentence. But I think we've been beaten with bad quarterback play that doesn't understand the significance of throwing past the sticks and trying to take chances and giving your wide receivers opportunities to make plays. Where I think simply just seeing Russell Wilson operate an offense is going to feel like a breath of fresh air. And average, again, I want to put it on a shirt. Average, 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 average. Average is going to feel so damn good. I would love to get to a point where I'm complaining about average instead of complaining about having a bottom 3 offense. So, like, again, that comeback hitch route, first drive of the game, 2nd and 7 to Wandale. As you know, that ball's got to start to come out as soon as these receivers are getting out, like not even getting out of their breaks, but as soon as they're kind of planting their feet in the ground and they're stopping their momentum going forward, that ball has to start coming out. And those timing plays, previous quarterbacks that we've had just haven't been able to hit them. Russ has been hitting them in camp, and then you even saw it in the game today too. So I don't know. It was just one of those things. Like I don't know. Like I don't know if we've had guys that can not make the throw, as in like they don't have the arm talent, but just decision wise and timing wise to do it and pull the trigger there. So that was cool. I really like that 2nd and 7 throw. That's it for Russ. One drive. Graham Gano kicks a couple 50-yard field goals. And I'm going to stick talking about the offense here because then we'll move to the defensive side of the ball and Abdul Carter and things like that. Turbo Miller was the team's leading rusher, and he was the team's leading receiver. Actually, I lied. Jaxson Dart was the team's leading rusher. Turbo Miller was the team's leading rusher when it came to running backs. He had 10 attempts for 22 yards. The Giants as a team had 25 attempts, 79 yards. I always feel like you never really run the ball that well during preseason because there's just so many attempts of it. And I don't know. I've never felt like the Giants have ran the ball all that well in the preseason. Like them averaging like 4 yards per carry. I consider always that to be a win. But Turbo Miller also led the team in receiving. 7 targets, 7 receptions for 80 yards. His longest catch was 18 yards. He's fast, man. He's kind of a little silly fast. And if there ever is an opportunity to continue to stack him on the practice squad and, you know, after Devin Singletary's contract runs out and maybe he's competing for RB3 next year, that's maybe something that I wouldn't mind. I thought, you know, hey, good as a receiver today, really good in space. Dude's fast, and we knew that he was fast, but kind of cool to, for the first time during a couple spurts that we got today, cool to see him in the open field kind of be able to turn on the jets, go north and south and see how quick and fast he is. So that was cool. I want to talk about Marcus Mbow, though. Really want to talk about Marcus Mbow. Dude, the more that I watch him, you know, we got a nice dose of him at camp. And now today, like he played for a substantial period of time. And I actually liked at the point that they took him out that's the point where like Darius Alexander was still in the game. So the fact that they took him out when they took him out and they didn't leave him in to just, we got to see you work. I think it's like, all right, dude, you're doing well. You're kicking ass. You're doing everything that we want you to do. We'll reward you and we'll take you out. And all right, Stone Forsythe, go in there and have a blast. But Marcus Mbow is so damn athletic and his feet are so damn good. There was a play in particular, a third down play where I haven't watched like every single snap of Marcus Mbow, but I really tried in a rewatch that I did to really prioritize watching him because really on the offensive line, that's the only person you really, really want to pay attention to on a first watch. And even when things aren't perfect, like even if he gets beat off the snap, his feet are still so fast and his recovery is still so good that he's not crossing his feet. He's not lunging. He's not losing balance. He's able to stay kind of mirror a guy well enough, or at least wash a guy around the corner well enough where it gives a path for a quarterback like Jaxson Dart to step up in the pocket. There was an incompletion on third down to Greg Dulcich. That's the play that I'm talking about. Where I think Dart maybe was a little inaccurate to Dulcich. I thought maybe Dulcich should have had a little bit more of an effort to try and use his wingspan to catch that ball. It was hard to tell from the TV angle if it was a bad throw or just Dulcich not turning his head in time. But that play, Mbow at right tackle, edge rusher gets a nice jump off the snap, and Mbow's quick feet, his feet never cross. And he never fully, you have to open the gate when you get beat as a tackle, right? You kind of have to open the gate and open your hips a little bit, but still his feet never cross. He stays shuffling well, and he really washes a guy around the outside. And I'm really excited about him. I think there was a run play or two where maybe he kind of guessed wrong and guys were beating him at the snap, and getting around him a little bit. So I think as a run blocker, he needs a little work. And I think him going up against NFL strength is going to have to be the biggest question that we're going to need answered about Marcus Mbow, because we know the athleticism is there. We know the feet are there. And really, I'm surprised even at how well balanced he was. I'm surprised that his feet weren't crossing and shit like that, because I thought that was one of the main reasons why he did kind of fall to round 3, is that even though the traits are all there at Purdue, right? The athletic traits, it was all off the charts, and the feet, the quick feet. I thought one of the reasons why he did fall is because he's just so unbalanced. And I compared it to almost like a newborn animal being born. And you know how deers and horses, like when they're born, they know how to walk and run, but they don't know how to yet. And they don't really do it that well. Well, it's the same thing with Marcus Mbow, except he hasn't shown that in camp. And then he backed it up in the preseason game. I thought he's been a balanced football player. He has not been unbalanced and sloppy and winding up on the ground. So Evan Neal's wound up on the ground a lot this training camp. So that's Marcus Mbow. I don't know what the future holds for Mbow in terms of what's going to happen with him this year. Like, I don't think we're not talking about challenging for the right tackle starting job. We're just not. Jermaine Illuminor is that good. Jermaine Illuminor is that reliable. But I mean, after this year, put together a good summer, put together a good preseason. And I think no matter what, if a tackle goes down, I almost think he should be the first guy in. James Hudson, a couple more pre-snap penalties today. He also is just not good in general. Forget just the pre-snap penalties, because he's been doing that all at camp too. I also just don't think he's very good. He's athletic, very similar to Mbow. I was happy with what I saw athleticism-wise with him coming out of Cleveland, but he's just not a good tackle. Yet you pay him $6 million a year to be a swing tackle. And right now, I'm not confident that he should be the swing tackle. I think Marcus Mbow should be the right tackle at least. But even like left tackle, he lined up there today a little bit, has lined up there for a series with the first team during camp and kind of held his own. I don't know, man. Marcus Mbow, I think, should be the first tackle coming off the bench for the Giants this year. And I think that's going to continue as time goes on. Anything else on the offensive side of the ball? Tommy DeVito. Yeah, Tommy DeVito led a game-winning drive in fourth quarter. Came back a little bit. So Tommy DeVito looked pretty good. A lot of swing passes out of the backfield for Tommy DeVito. I thought he was going to play the whole second half. He played the whole fourth quarter. So that was, I think, nice for all of us that we didn't have to fully see a full half of Tommy DeVito. Thomas Fidone with some nice catches too. Tommy DeVito throwing him the ball down the field, and the 2-point conversion where he just went up and lost somebody. It was cool to see with Fidone is the wingspan on him. Like one of the longest and largest wingspans you'll get out of a tight end and out of a prospect. And that's for certain things that you look for in the 7th round is just traits and high upside. And man, like when DeVito threw Fidone the ball over the middle of the field and I believe it was the fourth quarter, his biggest play of the day, Thomas Fidone, his biggest catch of the day. I thought live, I'm like, damn, he really had to go up there and get it. Like he really had to stretch his hands. And that was maybe not a good throw by Tommy DeVito, but that's the wingspan of Thomas Fidone. And then they show a replay where they show the back angle of it. And it's like, no, the ball was high, but it wasn't a bad throw, but he's just so long. The dude is just so long. And you see it in the 2-point conversion too. He kind of just snags that ball away. So awesome stuff by Fidone. I think as a receiver, he can challenge Daniel Bellinger maybe for tight end 3. I still think they're going to carry 4. Walking away from this camp so far, I think they're going to carry 4. I think Daniel Bellinger is too valuable, especially now that Mike Kafka is back as a play caller. They love using Daniel Bellinger as this H-back. They love the Y leaks and putting Daniel Bellinger as a receiver from that fullback spot, and I love it too. Part of me thinks that Fidone could do that, but if they think that Daniel Bellinger is that much better of a move blocker and he's done it before he's been in the system, all right, fine, just carry 4 tight ends and find different ways to save cap space, because the Giants will need to save cap space. Carry 4 tight ends and Fidone will be that 4th. Or again, I feel like Fidone's skill set could match Daniel Bellinger somewhat, even if he's a little bit worse of a blocker, but he is a better receiver. And if the Giants want to save a little bit of money, and if they almost want to double their cap space, they'll have an opportunity to do that. But I still think they'll carry 4 tight ends. And I think that's fine. It's just fine. Have 4 tight ends that you all can kind of sort of rely upon, right? Fidone, Dart, DeVito, Jameis Winston almost throws an interception, but he knew that guy jumped offside. He knew it. Take the interception off the board. Get out of here. Talked about Russell Wilson. Jalen Hyatt didn't play. And I don't exactly know why. And I don't know if that was fully answered yet. But, dude, like, if you had to make a power ranking of guys that kind of need to play, it's Evan Neal, who also didn't play, but he's actually hurt. Evan Neal is number 1. And, not to say that Jalen Hyatt won't make the team, but it would have been cool to see Jalen Hyatt go out there with Russ and then maybe even a little bit of Jaxson Dart and make some plays for them and at least put some notice on this Giants coaching staff that he deserves to go out there. So I don't know what happened. And it seemed like a lot of the beat reporters before the game didn't know what happened. I think the only injury, time that we got this summer from Hyatt is they really took it easy with him, really took it easy on him after he was cramping. He was cramping after the first 1 or 2 days of training camp. And then they kind of kept him out for a couple days. And then he's kind of been back and he's looked decent since then. And I don't know why he didn't play today. I have no idea why. So it would have been cool to see him, but we don't see him. Wan'Dale Robinson was basically the only starting wide receiver that was out there for the Giants today. Let's move over to the defensive side of the ball. But first, I do want to talk to you about the DraftKings Sportsbook because today's episode is sponsored by DraftKings. Football fans, this season is around the corner. For every team and every fan base, there is renewed hope, just like we have. Everyone starts with a 0 in the loss column, and there's no better time to jump in with our partners at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, new customers bet just $5, get $200 bonus bets instantly. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. New customers use our promo code JMFootball, bet $5 on any wager, get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code JMFootball only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Thanks, DraftKings. I really wanted to so badly. Like I was telling my producer Jeff, I want to bet this preseason game. I'm like, we're gonna have Josh Allen isn't playing, and we're gonna have 4 quarterbacks that have like all besides Jaxson Dart. Jaxson Dart first round pick, but like the rest of the quarterbacks have started NFL games and like won NFL games. I'm like, we're gonna beat them and we're gonna cover. And we did exactly that. And I bet $0 on this game. I was ready to put $100 on multiple things this preseason game. And I didn't. Because I'm a coward. And I should have done it. Defensive side of the ball. I don't have a ton of defensive notes. We're going to talk about Abdul Carter, Deontay Banks, Roy Robertson Harris, Corey Durden made like a nice run stop, and then also Darius Alexander. Abdul Carter. I mean, as each day goes on, like one of the main reasons why I'm so damn excited for week 1, it's just to see him play and to see what he can do and what kind of stat line he's going to end the year with and what kind of impact he can have, because the speed it's just different. You saw it in practice. I was like, all right, that's practice. Okay. The bend is there. The plays are there. The 1v1 reps. Okay. But just to see it on a field and see it on a broadcast, right? You watch games by watching the broadcasts and the conventional like side wide big, tall angle. And that when you're watching football that way, that's when football feels like, all right, I'm watching football and not just out of practice or through a phone screen or whatever. So when you see it, you know when shit's different. And I think with him, it's going to be different. It's going to be different. The rest of these guys, the rest of the first part of the show, it's like, all right, well, we'll see. These are good signs, right? Good signs. We'll see if Dart can put it together. We'll see if Russ can continue throwing the ball to Wan'Dale on the sideline and down the field, right? We'll see if that can continue. But Carter, I'm not saying we'll see. I'm saying it's going to fucking happen. It's going to happen that this dude is just going to be different. Like I said before, 3 pressures on 3 pass rush snaps, 2 versus Deion Dawkins, a 4-time Pro Bowler. 1 came from the interior, and I think he was also being held on that play too. So almost had a sack. Mitchell Trubisky kind of improvised out of nowhere and gets out of a sack, and then he extends a play And then Roy Robertson-Harris absolutely demolishes him on a. It was a big explosive play allowed, and then I think also 15 yards were added on top of it because Roy Robertson-Harris got a roughing the passer. Dude, Carter's just going to be good. That's it. I think he had 6 snaps, 3 pass rush snaps, and 3 of them were pressures. Hell yeah, let's go. Lined up at different spots. Let's do it. Deonte Banks at CB2. Cordell Flott did not play. One of the guys, I think he suffered. I thought it was a groin, but I think also Dan Duggan came on here and said doesn't know what the injury is. There was an injury report that was probably put out today. I didn't see what that injury report was, so I'll have to check and see. Jeff, do you want to look that up maybe? See if there was an injury report put out before today's game, and then what injury does Cordell Flott have? Because they have to list it. So, but Deonte Banks at cornerback 2. Joe Shane came on the broadcast for like 5 minutes. And the Giants official account should have tweeted out. Joe Shane came on the broadcast for about 5 minutes today, the home broadcast with Bob Pop and Carl Banks. And in that 5 minutes, he talked twice and specifically said, it is a cornerback 2 battle between Cordell Flott and Deonte Banks. He could have easily played it off and said, well, why is Deonte Banks playing so long in this game? Well, we got a couple corners hurt. Corey Black's hurt. Cordell Flott's hurt. You don't want to play Paulson Adebo that long. So that's why Deonte Banks is playing half of football. I think he was playing into the third quarter too. But he played a whole half. And no, he didn't just brush it under the rug. Said twice, there is a battle at cornerback 2 between Cordell Flott and Deonte Banks. I still think I'm sitting here and can't wait till I'm wrong, but I'm still sitting here saying, I really think they're going to give Deonte Banks the job. I think that's how this is going to end. Because number 1, I think he's a better player. And number 2, former first-round pick. Are you really that quickly going to not give up, but really that quickly going to put a former first-round pick on the bench as a CB2, not a CB1, as a CB2, you're going to put him on the bench for Cordell Flott, who is a rookie on his, on an expiring contract with the Giants. What I think they're doing, and I've had this thought as the spring has gone on. As soon as I heard that they were splitting reps at CB1 and CB2, you may have heard me say, I think they're trying to send a message to this guy, being like, you're not hot shit. Your shit stinks too, whatever that saying is. But you're not hot shit. I think they're trying to keep him in check. That's my theory. And I think Joe Shane and, he sits with Dion Dargan, and I think they're calculated about everything. You saw that on Hard Knocks, is that they prep. They prep what are we going to talk about during this press conference? What do we want to say? What do we want to hit on? I don't think Joe Shane's just going on there and just honestly answering everything. I think Joe Shane calculated, like, I am going to go on TV and I'm going to say there's a fucking battle. Even like, well, what is that? Is Banks listening to that? Maybe not. But I think if somebody went on TV and said somebody's competing for Justin's job, I'd pay attention to that. So, the message has been sent through camp, and then the message is also sent by the general manager going on television, local TV, and everybody's watching that Giants game that's local, right? Going on TV and saying it. And I think that means something. It 100% means something. But I still think in the back of my brain, he's going to get the job, right? But thank God that play, that quote-unquote catch that he allowed on the sideline was an incompletion. Thank God that was an incompletion, because that happened on the left sideline. That deep play happened, and you're just thinking to yourself, oh my God, holy shit, I can't believe this guy didn't turn his head again. And for all the people that were in my mentions saying, he did turn his head, if you see the other angle, I'll give you, he turned his head, I think, as the ball was in the air. And then what did he do? He turned his head right back, didn't play the football. He turned his head right back and looked at the wide receiver and watched that ball fall into his lap. And thank God he didn't get 2 feet down. Thank God. But I can't. There is nothing more to say at this point. And if this continues to happen at the rate at which it is happening, he may just lose the job, and he probably will lose the job. Probably will. There was another crosser over the middle of the field where he gets beat at the snap, little move off the snap, little hesitation move off the snap, and a backup Bills receiver is beating him at the line. And that was an issue for him at Maryland. The issue is at Maryland. He gets beat at the snap. He gets beat with moves off the snap. He doesn't turn his head and he has no ball production. Two of the bad things that we sat on this podcast and told you, I don't know about this Deonte Banks guy. And those things have kind of defined his NFL career. No ball production and losing at the snap. He's athletic. He can run. He's in great position. I don't know, man. I don't know. And also, he's not a good run defender. So add that on top of it, too. But I don't know about putting Cordell Flott, who's 170 pounds soaking wet. So we'll see. But as of now, if this shit continues to happen, he will lose the job. But also, again, I don't think he's that bad. Just turn your head, man. Turn your head. But if you're going to allow these big plays, you're going to lose the job. You're just going to lose the job. It's the most frustrating part about this summer so far is the same damn thing over and over again with them. The same damn thing over and over again. Turn your head. How hard is it? How hard is it? And forget this. I'm trying to play the ball as it falls into a receiver's lap. Forget it. Not working. Not working. The rest of the guys. Roy Roberts. I'm gonna whispers. It was the Bills' starting offensive line. I know Josh Allen wasn't in there. I know they didn't have all their starters in there, but they did have their starting offensive lineman in there. And I actually thought the Giants' interior defensive line, Nacho was at nose tackle a little bit. Roy Robertson Harris didn't look all that bad. You know, I thought the run defense looked decent at the start of the game. So can't take away too much from it. I get it. I know, but Roy Robertson Harris had a QB hit early in the game. Really wrecked Mitchell Trubisky. Didn't get flagged, and then there was another one where he did get flagged. But I don't know. I just like that he's trying to make a play and he's trying to put good hits on the quarterback. I still don't think he's going to offer much as a pass rusher, but just a good sign. There was a particular run stop on a first down. I saw both him and Nacho really getting good extension. Nacho at nose tackle again, and then Roy Robertson Harris right to the right of him. So, you know, good signs, right? When we're talking about in camp, when Dex isn't on the field, I'm worried that we're going to get gashed. I'm worried about that the defense is going to be horrible. Well, you know, phase one, test one, check, pass. They didn't get their ass kicked. The explosive plays are a problem. They can't allow the explosives. You just can't, whether that is in the run game or whether that's as a pass defense too. But that's against backups. Not that concerned. My guy O'Donnell Fortune got beat. O'Donnell Fortune and Nick Jones getting picked on a little bit. The two guys that it's supposed to be their summers, especially the summer of Nick Jones. Where did that go? But O'Donnell Fortune, my favorite UDFA, I pretend I do not see. Corey Durden also had a nice run stopper too. Talked about that. Let's talk about Darius Alexander, and then I'll wrap it up. How long have I been going for? Wow, hell yeah, 40 minutes? Let's go. Let's talk about Darius Alexander, and then we'll wrap up, and maybe I'll take some questions from the chat. I would like to do that maybe on these game recaps anytime I go live. Take questions from the YouTube chat. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Darius Alexander played a 3 whole quarters, and, you know, I want to rewatch again just to see, you know, watch him and only him. But there was not really a play today where he stuck out on the screen. You know, maybe I missed something. Maybe I missed a couple plays here and there, but it just a common theme from Darius Alexander this summer is any time that you want to try and look for him, you gotta find him. He's not gonna pop off and he's not gonna catch your attention. It's been a slow summer for Darius Alexander, and I say that both in the sense of he's not making plays, and then also he kind of just looks slow, and it's a little frustrating that you would want. You know, I know he's an older prospect, but you would want a guy that is a little bit older as a prospect to come in with a little bit more juice, come in with more violent hands and quickness. It's just not happening right now for Alexander. So it's one of those things to, I think, keep an eye on, not making any, you know, not planting my flag in the sand about Darius Alexander as a football player and his NFL future, but it just has not been a good summer for him. And I think it's a reflection the fact that he played 3 full quarters. Marcus Mbow, who was a 5th-round pick for this team, he didn't. I think he was out of there in the middle of the 3rd quarter. I know for a fact Darius Alexander played more than him. Like I made that determination in my head as I was watching. So the fact that he played 3 full quarters when there's other D linemen on this team, there's Elijah Garcia, Corey Durden, Jordan Riley was one of the guys that kind of came in after him. I think that's like a message, again, similar to Deonte Banks. These guys that are getting extended playing time that shouldn't, especially the 65th pick in the draft. I don't think it was just, you're a rookie, we want experience. I think it's, wake the fuck up. Wake the fuck up, man. That's what I think it is. And you've seen a lot in practice. Andre Patterson's talking to him a lot. These guys are trying to kind of get him up to speed, and it just hasn't happened yet. So Darius Alexander, again, played a 3 whole quarters, and I don't know if any specific play stuck out with him. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look for the defensive stats. I'm gonna see if I see D. Alexander. Did he have a tackle? DJ Davidson obviously had a sack. I don't see him here. I don't even see him on the register. If he registered a tackle, which means he didn't register. Which means he didn't register a QB hit, which means he didn't register a tackle for loss, pass defense, nothing. I'm pretty positive. I'm going to go through it one more time because I don't want to be this bad and this wrong. It's not here. That's tough. Deontay Johnson saved the game. Deontay Johnson should make the team. Chris Board allowed a touchdown. Deontay Johnson would never allow that touchdown early in the game. Deontay Johnson's never late in coverage assignments. Never. He should make the team. How do you like that? All right, let's Jeff. What do you got? Have you been keeping track of chats and stuff like that? Well, give me some good ones, man.
Yeah, I got some chats here for you. I'll start with the super chat from Mike earlier. Let's pull it up. Marcus Mbow needs to start over Hudson. He killed that first drive when we were rolling. 2 penalties, such a killer. Thank the Lord, Graham Gano is back.
Oh, shout out Juden McAtamey too. Clutch field goal in the second half there too. And shout out Graham Gano. Love to see that he's making 50-yard field goals, especially, hey, big cap hit. We got to be able to have a field goal kicker this year that does stuff. I think Graham Gano is primarily here, especially as we're learning about the new kickoff rules. I think they really like his ability to locate the football on these kickoffs. And that's why I think Graham Gano is here. And in all fairness, I think Graham Gano, even before, I think Judge did this too with Graham Gano. Even before they changed the kickoff rules, Graham Gano has always done a very good job of positioning the football particularly well on these kickoffs to try and give the Giants an advantage. That's honestly why I think he's here with that such big cap hit. But anyway, yeah, Marcus Mbow, talked about him earlier. It's like him and Carter from this rookie class that, and Dart too, but him and Carter from like this rookie class that, I don't know, like, you don't want to get too excited, but like you're getting really excited. And what Joe Shane needs to start to do, you got to find your Fred Warners, right? You got to find him. Who's another Drew? Give me a number. We have also intern Drew in the room. Drew, give me another like day 3 draft steal for a team. But not Tom Brady. George Kittle. Like, you gotta, same team, by the way. You got to start finding these guys day 3 of the draft that, they don't have to be Hall of Famers, but maybe they're like really good players. Even like Darius Slayton, he's a good player. I love Darius Slayton. I think he's an underrated player. I think he's an underrated guy, but you got to start finding these major wins on day 3. And it doesn't have to be every year. It doesn't have to be every pick, but once every couple draft classes, what you got to find these guys. If you want to take your football team from here or middle of the pack to the elite areas and take it up to the ceiling, then you gotta find these guys in the draft on day 3 that could be tremendous difference makers for you. Not just relying on getting top 10 picks every year and compile your roster that way. So that's pretty damn easy to do. Pretty damn easy to find guys that are really good football players in the top 10 of the draft. Really easy to do that. Like there's 3 people in this room right now. I think all 3 of us can do a pretty damn good job at it if you give us the opportunity to do it every year. So that's what this team needs to start doing. I think Marcus Mbow could be one of those guys. But James Hudson. Damn false starts, man. Pre-snap penalties. Like, it happened in camp, and it was kind of happening again today. What else, Jeff? What else you got?
Yeah. I got from Camden, the first package where Dex and Carter are coming up the middle with KT and Burns and edges are going to feed families.
Yeah.
Talk about the pass rusher bits.
Yeah, so I still have to think of the new it's not NASCAR because Dex being 340, 350 pounds isn't a NASCAR package. Also, we didn't see Chauncey Golston today. Shit. Guy also I want to say. It's not a NASCAR package. I almost want to call it like a Craftsman Truck Series. Like that's almost like a NASCAR Craftsman. It's too long though. Like it's too much of a tongue twister. And I also think it's a very niche reference where it's like it's fast, but it's also big. And that's my working theory. Let me know what you should think of it. But yeah, it's gonna be sick, man. And I think what Carter should do a lot against week 1 against the Commanders is being like this QB spy and being a stand-up pass rusher from the A gap. And when Jaden Daniels starts to run around and try and improvise and maybe he tries to scramble, that's when Abdul Carter starts to break on these QBs and he can get sacks, he can get throwaways, he can wreak havoc doing that. He did a lot of that against Illinois, and I made a compilation of it. Go watch it. What else, Jeff?
A couple of these comments. People are worried about our run defense.
Yeah, I don't know if anything today really gave you anything fully to worry about. I mean, I'm worried about the run defense as a whole. Yeah, but just to stick it to a game recap for a second. Yeah, 15 attempts, 58 yards. So here's what I'm so much of the starters weren't in. But just as a defense as a whole, saw it with the backups today. And then we'll continue, maybe to see it as just time goes on. This was an issue last year. They gotta, if you hit a guy at the line of scrimmage, behind the line of scrimmage, stop turning those plays into 3 or 4 or 5 yards. Stop. When you hit a guy at the line, you got to bring him down at the line. If you hit a guy in the backfield, you got to bring him down in the backfield. It's these little things that I feel like make a huge difference in a football game. Where if you especially a second and 7, for example, and they run the ball again, or they throw a screen, or they throw something at the line, and everybody's there. But if you're allowing 4 yards on that play, that's a manageable third down. If you allow 2, that's you're getting closer to 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, 3rd and long, where you could do the fun stuff that you want to do on defense this year. That you want to put the quarterback on the ground. You can't do all that fun shit until you get teams in the 3rd and long. And a huge part of that is, can you fucking tackle? And can you bring guys down when you make contact with them? Not this falling forward, not breaking a tackle. And that was today. That was, again, backups, doesn't matter. But watching today and knowing that it's been an issue for the Giants in the past, whether it's a 20-yard play and then keeping that to 20, 25 yards, or are you going to not be able to tackle and then it turns into 40, 50 and a touchdown? The small shit like that. That's what I think this defense really needs to fix, address, and get right. Especially running the ball. You hit a guy at the line, you hit a running back at the line, they should not be falling forward for 4 more yards. Bring a guy down. Wrap up, shoulder, all that shit. What else, Jeff? Anything else? Because we may wrap it up. This is a nice, crisp, cool 49 minutes we got going on right now.
Yeah, we got a question asking about more so just saying that they wish they could have seen Evan Neal out there today.
Yeah, he was hurt. Again, if you had to make a power ranking of guys that needed to be out there today, he's number 1. And it's not because he's not going to make the team. It's because he may be competing for a starting job. Like if Evan Neal plays well, Evan Neal will force the conversation about should he deserve a starting job? Because right now it's not happening. I still think a rotation is possible. And the way that they've even treated, it's not even a conspiracy theory anymore. It was a conspiracy theory in the spring, but they've been treating Evan Neal as like a rotational player. That's what they've been doing in camp. So with both Runyon and Greg Van Roten at times, but it's mostly GVR and Greg Van Roten. And Dan Duggan had a good point in the last episode. Like he when I brought up the rotation with him, he's like, yeah, it may also not be a bad idea just to take 34, 35-year-old Greg Van Roten out of the game, so then he could get a series off. That also may be another reason why a rotation is pretty good. So, I mean, Evan Neal has an opportunity to force the issue. And when you don't see him out on the field, and especially you don't see him out on the field against any other competition besides the bad Giants interior defensive lineman, it's tough. Really need to see Neal pass block. That's the main thing. You need to see Evan Neal pass block, especially when guys are allowed to hit the quarterback. And if he's allowing sacks against backups, then you kind of have your answer with Neal at guard. But if he's going to move people in the run game, which I think he can do, and if he's going to hold his own as a pass blocker and be able to deal with quick moves off the snap, then we're talking about a different conversation about Evan Neal getting more playing time. But right now, that's not going to happen because we're not going to see it.
How about this? I got a couple comments on Fidone.
Yeah.
People are asking if they should fall in love with him at this point.
Why not? Why not? I mean, again, I don't think he did anything tremendous today, but just his body. Like, he's just a long football player. And I think that showed off in his two biggest plays. He also had a really nice juggling catch too. Where I even think the wingspan, you got to reach out. I think even might have showed up there too. But the two best plays today, the 2-point conversion, which was huge at the time. 2-point conversion, long, just going up and getting that football and grabbing that football, and then where DeVito threw the ball to him over the middle of the field. It looked live speed. It looked like, oh my God, like look at how long his arms are and he's stretching out. And then you see the replay and it's like, well, he had more room to spare. And he didn't even have to jump and get that ball. So if he can get momentum going right, if there's ever a time where the Giants feel like, all right, he's deserving of significant playing time, and if injuries ever stack up, then he could be a real advantage if he gets open in the middle of the field. Or even if a guy's kind of draped on top of him, that quarterback can put the ball in places where he can only get it, and he will get it because of how long and kind of limber he is. So he moves well too.
I'll give you
give me one more.
2 and 1 right here, Justin.
Yeah.
You got a question on Humphrey. Do you think he made his case for wide receiver 4 today?
Yeah,
and Turbo making a case for making the 53.
Yeah, I still think they're going to carry 3 running backs. I don't think they're going to carry 4. So Turbo will make it to the practice squad anyway. Little Jordan Humphrey. If this is crazy. I'm going to look up something right now on the spot. Does Lil Jordan Humphrey? Fun fact, he doesn't go by Lil on Pro Football Reference. Or does he? Oh, this is bad radio. It's not coming up right away. I'm looking for Little Jordan Humphrey on Pro Football Reference. Didn't come up. Damn it. If he could play special teams, because he does have a similar type of body as Bryce Ford Wheaton. If he could play special teams, and again, similar type of body where, Wheaton was long, and you remember that the block that happened last year against Seattle, and he's able to return that back. On punt as well. And I'm saying this as good radio to really extend this so I can talk about Lil Jordan Humphrey. Okay, I found it. Let me look and see his snap counts. He has 76 career special team snaps in his 6 years. So I do not think he has a pedigree as a special teamer. So I think that's out of the window now. But I don't think they're going to carry 5 legit wide receivers and then a 6th as like the special teamer. I think what they're going to do is they'll carry 4, and the front 4, it's unique this year where the front 4 are so wide receiver heavy and so wide receiver dependent, where that's why I'm okay with carrying 2 wide receivers in the back end that are special teamers. I'm totally fine with it. Remember, I feel like Amir Smith-Marset is a lock, almost, virtually. D. Williams did a lot of the returns today. But I still think Amir Smith-Marset is the best return man that we have on the team. And then is it Gunnar Olszewski? at that wide receiver 6, who his touchdown, by the way, today from Jameis Winston played today. His touchdown today from Jameis, I swear to God, if you are watching my training camp recap streams and I talked about a play where Gunnar Olszewski dived, and it was a ball from Jameis, dived in the end zone and caught a touchdown during Monday's practice and Monday's stream. I swear to God, it was the same play. It was almost like it was like a deja vu. It was deja vu where Gunnar, middle of the end zone, dove, same route, same quarterback, and he dove. He dove for that ball too. And he was on the ground. I'm like, I feel like I'm in like the Twilight Zone where I'm watching the same thing over again, except on my screen and in a totally different location. So is Gunnar going to be wide receiver 6? Because he can be a force and something else on special teams besides a return man. I think there could be a world where him and Amir Smith-Marset are the 2 return men on the team. But also Beau Collins is somebody that has been hurt, but also I think the Giants like, and he's been probably out of all the UDFAs, he stood out the most. Like he has had a nice connection with Jaxson Dart at times. He's had a nice connection with Tommy DeVito at times at practice, but he's been hurt and we haven't fully seen him. And I think Beau Collins also has a similar type of build to a guy with Bryce Ford Wheaton. And if they're looking for that longer type of guy to play special teams, then I think Beau Collins could do that. So I think it's between those 3 guys. Amir Smith-Marset, wide receiver 5, and then wide receiver 6, Gunnar, Beau Collins. And then if they want to carry little Jordan Humphrey and they only really want to have one pure special teamer, then they could do that too. And I won't be too mad at that. But really, unless there's any kind of injury, little Jordan Humphrey's not getting any kind of snaps. So, Jeff, I think that's it. I think I'm going to wrap it up. So we'll be back this week. I am going to the Jets-Giants joint practice on Wednesday. So I'm going to have a stream for that. We're going to interview a beat reporter, and then we're going to do this damn thing all over again, recapping the Jets preseason game. I will be giving away Giants tickets this week, by the way. If you subscribe to my new channel called Check Down Football, and if you comment on the first video that was posted, and you will be entered into a giveaway. Now, say why. If you want to go to the game, number 1, the Jets-Giants preseason game or the Giants-Patriots preseason game, comment on that video why you would want to go and what game you would want to go to. Because I am doing a giveaway. I'm giving away both of my preseason tickets on a new channel that I'm launching. And yes, if it's the first time you're hearing it, I am launching a new channel. It is called Check Down Football. It's ironic because I kind of don't like check downs. But the whole point of the channel is that it's going to be quick. It's going to be my idea is like pretty low lift. I kind of just want to, there's certain stuff that I make shorts on and shorter form content on that I want to talk more about. And that's what I want that channel to be. I want it to be a landing spot for that. I'm even working on a Dexter Lawrence video on it. How about that? So subscribe to Check Down Football. I think Jeff is putting it in the chat.
Link in the description.
Link is in the description of this video and of this podcast. I appreciate you listening to the show. Thank you so much. Good to have Giants football back. They win. They score over 30 points. Every quarterback led a scoring drive this game. Brian Daboll's 5-5 in the preseason. He is 3-1 in his week 1 career as a Giants head coach. We will see you later this week. We're going to be recapping joint practices. We'll talk with the beat reporter, and then I'll see you for a Jets-Giants recap. Appreciate you watching, and let's go Giants.